guess Alex's, what am I trying to say? Hi friends, it's Courtney. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, thanks for stopping by. And if you are a returning subscriber, thanks for hanging out with me again today. So today I wanted to do a quick review of this book, Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. It tells the story of Alex, a 30-something wealthy white woman living in Boston. She's a wife and a mom. And Amira, her 25-year-old black nanny. So when the story opens, there is an incident at like a Whole Foods like grocery store with Amira and Alex's young daughter. I think she's 3. So they have something happen at their house at like 11 o'clock at night, and she's in a bind. So Alex calls Amira, who doesn't typically work for them on Saturday nights, but she calls and asks her if she can come and pick up their little girl and kind of get her out of the house while Alex and her husband Peter deal with this. They had like some vandalism happen. So Amira gets the little girl. They end up in this, it's like a Whole Foods, and she, you know, it's like 11:30 at night. She is dressed for a night out because she had been out with her girlfriends when they called. So she's not dressed like a nanny, you know, she's in kind of club gear or whatever. So she is hanging out with the little girl, and they're, you know, she's just doing what people do with young kids, trying to entertain them. I think they're kind of singing and dancing in the aisle, and she gets hassled by a security guard who thinks that maybe she has kidnapped this little girl. So I don't know why you would kidnap a child and then draw attention to yourself in club gear, dancing in the aisles late at night or whatever. So she ends up having to call Alex's husband Peter to like verify that she is who she says she is. It's this whole big thing, and the entire thing is being filmed by kind of a good Samaritan, if you will. And so when you're reading it, you think that this is going to drive the plot of the book, but it really doesn't. We find out that Amira is mortified that this man has captured this whole entire thing on film. He offers to like post it for her on like a YouTube or whatever, and she does not want that. You know, she does not want that at all. So he instead volunteers to email it to her, and she can save it, she can do whatever she wants with it. So that is what she does. And so, but essentially that whole situation is not even really, like, it doesn't drive the action of the book. This is more, I would say, more of a character-driven book, except I had issues with both of the main characters. The author of this book is black, and I had to, like, the further I got in the book, I had to double check that she was black, because the black character, so there's Amira, who's 25, and then she has like a group of girlfriends that she hangs out with, and you know, they have formed their own little family like in the city post college. And the interactions between those group of girlfriends seemed so forced and so stilted. The writing for them was very stilted and seemed very inauthentic, that I actually had to check to make sure that it was written by a black author. And then the character of Alex is so annoying. She starts off as annoying, and then she gets progressively more annoying to the point of being unbearable at the end of the book. And so, I mean, I don't like, you know, the protagonist doesn't always have to be a likable character in a story. That's fine. But a lot of her actions I just didn't understand, and they weren't addressed. And so, um, and then the incident, like with the videotaped situation at the grocery store, doesn't come up until the end of the story. But we do see, so after they get back from the grocery store, um, Peter, Alex's husband, tells her about everything that happens, and Alex is really embarrassed and mortified, and she's afraid that Amira is going to quit. She is afraid that Amira is going to think that they're racist. She goes, she really goes out of her way to engage Amira in ways that she hadn't done before. She starts asking her more questions about her life and her friends and where they go. She takes to like unlocking her phone when Amira gets to her house, she usually leaves her phone charging like in their entryway. And Amira watches their little girl Briar so that Alex can leave the house to work on her second book. She's an influencer, so she's built this career off of a website and off of her Instagram presence. And so she's writing a book. So when she comes back from, her afternoon's writing, she will check Amira's phone when she comes in. And so she finds out little pieces of information that way. She finds out that she's dating a guy, and she finds out what music she likes to listen to. So it's she definitely wants her to think that she's like hip and wants to be involved in her life, and she gives her like expensive bottles of wine, and she becomes more focused on what Amira thinks of her, which, I just found the entire situation very strange. And in addition to meeting Amira's group of girlfriends, we meet Alex's group of girlfriends as well, who she met when she was pregnant with her daughter Briar. So they all, have young children, and I am a stay-at-home mom, and I definitely have like friends that I made when I was pregnant with my son through like a mom's group, and that's where she met this group of women that are like her kind of circle of friends. And so they're all in that same stage of life where they're professional, they're juggling motherhood and their careers. And in this group of friends, there's one black woman, and her name is Tamara, I believe. And so Tamara is in the group to be Alex's sort of authority on blackness. And she was also very, very unlikable. And so there are, Alex has told her friends sort of everything that's happened with this incident, and she's worried about Amira quitting, and she sort of fills them in on details in Amira's life. And at one point, the girlfriends meet Amira, and Tamara is saying to her, like, she says things to her like, oh, do you watch Blackish? And, Amira's like, no, she doesn't really watch very much television. And, Tamara's like, oh, you have to see it. Like, it's such an important show. And, Amira has, I think in the story, she has like braids in her hair, which is a protective style. Black women wear protective hairstyles to protect their natural hair. And so, a lot of black women wear wigs and weaves and hair extensions and all of that sort of thing, or braids. And of course, Tamara, being, the epitome of wokeness, wears her natural hair. I think in the book she's described as having locks that are like shoulder length, which are like dreadlocks. And so she like says something to Amira about her like needing to be brave enough to wear her natural hair. Just a lot of their interactions rubbed me the wrong way. And for a character in the book who was supposed to be sort of this shining beacon of woke blackness, she exhibited very anti-black behavior towards Amira. She tells Alex, your family is the best thing that's ever happened to her, because Amira's family is from a lower economic class, and you know, she tells Amira she really needs to get herself thinking about her future, and if she wants to get in grad school, like she needs to do all of this stuff, which just, it was very condescending and it rubbed me the wrong way. And I couldn't figure out if the author was doing it intentionally to make us dislike this character. But in the end, I think she was just written that way. I don't think it was supposed to be this bigger, like she wasn't trying to say anything bigger about this character other than Alex had a black friend. And so that just, like, by the time I got to the end of the book, I was really, really not, like, it went from like a 3-star to a 1-star, just because for it to be a more character driven book, the characters, there wasn't enough of either of the characters there. They were very well, particularly I think Emira was very like one-dimensional. I think the author kind of threw things in, but they didn't really create a full character. It was basically like name dropping. So yeah, I mean, Alex was much more of like a well-rounded character, even though she was awful. And I thought that was an interesting point, like for a black woman to write a book about these two characters, one white, one black. I think the book would have worked for me better if I had been given more of a story around Amira, and it just felt really, really shallow and surface level for her, and what we learned of Alex wasn't enough to make me like her in the end. And then the end does kind of get what's coming to her, I guess, in sort of a way, not a way that I think ultimately she would understand. Like, I feel like this book is the kind of book that's written for white people about black people, but doesn't give like a full accounting of blackness, if that makes any sense. It just felt very like surface to me. So I don't know if it was because this was a first book. I don't know if it was the way that it was edited. Overall, it was just a really disappointing read for me. Like, it had some interesting ideas. Like, I would have wanted more about like why Amira didn't want the video to go viral, how that would affect someone's job search, why she was afraid to tell her family that she was a nanny, all of these things that weren't really talked about in the book very much. And I think it would have been a much more interesting book if it had been. So for me, it was disappointing. I know Reese Witherspoon picked it for her book club, so there was a ton of buzz about it. And it's been on the bestseller list. So yeah, but for me, it was just like a 1-star. So if you have read this book, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought about it. I know that with the whole social distancing and self-isolation, lots of us have a lot more time to read, so I'm hoping to bring you some more stuff that I am reading. And yeah, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below on thoughts about this book. If you loved it, let me know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I don't know. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.